Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and figure out how enterprises can scale AI agents without, creating total structural chaos. Picture this for a second. You hire an ultra-efficient digital assistant, right? And by lunch, it has enthusiastically reordered 50,000 staplers. Why? Well, because no one gave it actual boundaries. Rogue AI might sound like some distant sci-fi movie plot, but in the corporate world, it's a looming operational crisis right now. So today, we're breaking down Gartner's insights alongside John M. Koch's Integrated Process Excellence Framework. We really need to figure out how to anchor these digital workers before they spiral completely out of control.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with the AI agent breakdown, move into the Universal Orchestrator, cover the missing IPE foundation, look at solving structural failures, and finish up with tech meets process. So, first things first. Why exactly are enterprise AI agents failing? Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that it's not because the AI models themselves are bad. The underlying tech is actually brilliant. Instead, what we're looking at is a massive organizational failure. We're deploying these agents in a complete vacuum without any proper guardrails. To back this up, a 2026 Gartner Innovation Insight report drops a serious warning. They explicitly state that agents deployed in isolation are causing a sprawling crisis. They're breaking down simply because they lack a structured process layer. Essentially, they have to be anchored within explicit business processes that actually coordinate decisions, execution, and human oversight. Without that anchor, they literally just drift.
And guys, the urgency here is very, very real. Gartner predicts that by 2029, a staggering 90% of enterprises deploying AI across multiple platforms will require a unified control layer to manage bots and humans. Just think about that, 90%. That's almost every major organization out there hitting a massive operational wall if they don't radically rethink how they integrate AI right now.
So what happens when we hit that wall? Well, beware of hallucinated progress. This is a terrifying illusion in the enterprise space, where an isolated agent manages its own context window and genuinely thinks it finished a task, but actually it hasn't. Add to that the very real danger of agent monoliths. That's when companies hard-code logic into specific applications, making them pretty much impossible to upgrade later on. It creates massive, brittle automation debt that is a nightmare to untangle.
Section 2. The Universal Orchestrator.
To fix all this sprawling agent chaos, Gartner says we need something called a Universal Orchestrator, or a UO. You can basically think of the Universal Orchestrator as a highly advanced digital traffic control system for your entire enterprise. It's an interoperable control plane that sits right above your applications, smoothly coordinating your human workers, your basic bots, and your highly advanced AI agents all at the exact same time.
But hold on. Here's where we hit a massive conceptual hurdle. Ask yourself this. What does a universal orchestrator actually govern if there are no defined processes in your company? Seriously, think about your own company's workflows for a second. A state-of-the-art traffic control system with no actual paved roads, no painted lanes, and no stop signs is completely useless. It has all the control power in the world, but absolutely nothing to direct.
Which brings us to Section 3, the missing IPE foundation.
Enter IPE, or Integrated Process Excellence. This is John M. Koch's solution for the process baseline we so desperately need. If the orchestrator is the traffic control tower, IPE is the grounded structured process layer, the explicitly paved roads. It anchors the AI agents and gives the orchestrator an actual substrate to operate on. Simply put, it's a comprehensive enterprise operating model that clearly defines the exact processes these digital agents are supposed to follow.
And IPE solves this anchoring problem beautifully through a very specific three-level hierarchy. So level 0 defines the area. That's your highest process grouping. Level 1 defines the activity, which breaks that area down into discrete units of work. And finally, level 2 defines the element. These are the highly granular tasks, decision points, and handoffs. This specific structure creates documented step-by-step business chains that AI agents must follow to actually succeed.
Let's look at Section 4. Solving structural failures. Remember how Gartner demanded strict governance controls for a universal orchestrator to function? Things like end-to-end observability, strong audit trails, centralized policy enforcement, and mandatory human-in-the-loop triggers. Well, here's the reality check. All of those controls depend entirely on a pre-existing policy baseline. And guess what creates that baseline? IPE. Without IPE defining the standards up front, the orchestrator's governance controls literally have nothing to enforce against.
And hey, remember those brittle agent monoliths we talked about earlier? By documenting the logic, the inputs, and the handoffs externally at the IP element level, that's level 2, we effectively decouple the process state from the execution. This is huge. It means the AI agent's logic follows the documented business process, not the other way around. So swapping out an AI agent later just becomes a routine technology upgrade. It completely eliminates that brittle automation debt.
Gartner also points out a massive skills gap in the market, noting that organizations need systems thinking, not just tool-specific training. Fortunately, the 6 deployment steps of IP map perfectly directly to this required organizational readiness. You start by creating a positive environment, defining and documenting the process, communicating it, and then moving all the way to measuring, controlling, and continuously improving. It's an incredible way to train both leaders and workers to think purely in process terms.
All right, finally, Section 5. Tech meets process.
When you put them together, these two systems are literally two halves of a whole. They complement each other perfectly. The Universal Orchestrator is your technology control plane. It tracks if tasks are completed and enforces runtime policies. But IPE? That's your process definition plane. It actually defines what done means and creates those policies in the first place. So you end up with fast digital technology enforcing the rules right alongside the grounded process framework that actually writes them.
And this fusion is absolutely critical for compliance on a massive global scale. Because IPE fills the organizational and process gaps that no single software vendor's orchestrator can provide on its own, it uniquely positions enterprises to comply with major global AI frameworks. With IPE in place, your AI deployments naturally align with sweeping, strict standards like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, the EU AI Act, and the White House National AI Policy.
Ultimately, it all boils down to this. A universal orchestrator with no defined processes to enforce is just a governance layer with nothing to govern. An IPE-documented enterprise needs the orchestrator to scale its agents at digital speed, for sure, but conversely, the orchestrator desperately needs IPE to be sustainable, auditable, and accurate. They are fundamentally 100% interdependent. So, I want to leave you with this thought. Is your enterprise building advanced AI technology control layers over chaotic, completely undefined processes? Before you run headfirst into the very real operational disaster of hallucinated progress, ask yourself, does your AI actually know what done means? You might want to consider exploring integrated process excellence to build your ultimate process foundation today. Thanks for joining me on This Explainer.